Um, I started working in the charity sector in 2001, joining an organization who didn't have a content management system. So, and at the time there was no digital marketing, didn't really exist for charities. There was no email marketing, there was no search, there was no online fundraising. So I've been able to witness something, a fantastic journey that most charities have taken in terms of embracing digital, in terms of recruiting teams, in terms of developing strategies. So I would say it's a bit difficult for me to talk like right from the start, but I would say in the past 5 years, it's been phenomenal in terms of what charities have been able to achieve. Especially, I think social media has helped, but a lot in terms of campaigning, fundraising, but more and more service delivery. So not just using digital as a vehicle to drive traffic, raise awareness, or raise money, but really starting to find tools to adapt the services of the charity to help people online. So that's been for me the biggest shift. There's another one which is around internal mentalities towards digital. I can see, and that's really the start, but charities not considering digital as being owned or managed by a small team, a digital unit, but there are increasingly charities who are trying to move the knowledge outside of the digital team, share it to be able to allow more people to contribute to the content or the sort of digital assets of the charity. Sounds a bit like self-promotion because I'm helping a lot of charities doing that, but that's something that's a move that's happening at the moment. Well, I think quite a few things compared to the commercial sector that charities are doing well is, well, more recently social media, because I think it's easier for a charity to engage with people online, to have conversations and have real conversations, meaningful conversations that you probably have less with a brand. Email marketing is also something charities are doing fairly well. Acquiring data online, and we've seen some innovative campaigns as well in using videos, using different tools. So I think there's there could be more innovation in the sector. But I think it's really the engagement that charities have done better than many organizations, commercial organizations. I think there's, I've just mentioned innovation. I think charities should be better at innovating and trying. And I think there's one aspect to the online fundraising that charities are getting good at, should be, a percentage of what's being raised online should be allocated to piloting new digital projects. So I think in terms of testing, charities don't really do that. And nowadays there are very simple and free ways of testing different user journeys, testing different pages. So the testing is not so good compared to commercial organizations. Another aspect is probably around mobile. Most commercial companies nowadays have adapted their website to work on mobile. I've worked recently with Samaritans on the redesign of their website, which is mobile friendly. Their traffic from mobile phone was 5%. Since they made their website mobile friendly, it increased to 40%. So what we're seeing now in terms of mobile is that people are not using mobile on the move. They're having very personal and private conversations or private visits to a website. So I think charities are really behind with mobile. And I was recently looking at a leaflet from a charity with a QR code, those codes where you can click the code, send, that was sending people to their website, which is not mobile friendly. And their website was launched a few months ago. So mobile is going to overtake desktop by 2014. That's what's predicted. That's already happened for Facebook. We're now seeing more traffic for mobile. So that's one thing. The last, well, there are probably other things that charities don't do as well as the commercial one. But I think it's all the internal systems, all the integration of your backend tools, your CRM with your web data. I think commercial organizations have done that a long time ago to be able to track user journeys, to track activities and link that to the profile in their database system. And because I think it's more an internal, well, not internal politics, but the structure of charities means that very often the database system, the backend system, and the web systems are run by two teams, different teams with different objectives, different attitude. So again, I started to see a small change with some charities. We are looking at how they can integrate the web with the backend system. But at the moment, charities are really behind in that area. So that's a very big question, and there's a report that's been published recently showing that most charities have a digital strategy, but very few of those strategies are monitored by a senior management team. So what seems to happen in some charities where a digital strategy is that it's done in isolation of the rest of the strategies, or if it's signed off, then what happens very often is that the strategy can be derailed by another team coming up with another priority. So I think it's important to have maybe digital principles, to have digital objectives. In terms of the full strategy, personally, I think it's easier if you work with the fundraising strategy, the campaigning strategy, and then you, as the digital team, as the digital expert, you help your organization to deliver those strategies online. So by finding tactics, so you don't necessarily need to have a standalone digital strategy, but more a digital element to your various strategies. So that's one route. If you have a digital strategy, then, or if you want to create a digital strategy, I think it should be done with a real collaboration with all the teams, understanding their needs to make sure that your strategy delivers on the objectives of your colleagues. And the strategy could also focus on what other teams are not working on. So it could be around tools, so more around the technology. But I would say for me, the benefit of digital is that it's more about tactics than blue sky long-term digital objectives. So when you set up your digital strategy, what I would recommend is to have two types of strategic objectives. The one you can achieve within 6 to 12 months, and the one you can achieve within 12 to 18 months. Trying to look beyond that is a bit risky. But if you just look at social media, that really started in the charity sector around 2009, 2010, and is now starting to be widely adopted. We're not too sure what's going to happen next. So having a 5-year digital vision is not very useful, I think. Social media is very interesting because it's I can see again a change. I mean, a few years ago, what I was recommending to charities was to have one person managing the social media presence, more to have a consistent tone of voice. And I started to see a change because more and more people are using social media, within organizations, including senior managers. So there seemed to be a move towards training up staff to use social media. And I was recently talking to someone who thought it was a bit risky to have different tones. And well, actually, when you got spokesperson, they're all trained to have the other tone, the voice of the organization. So that should be the same on social media. So I think what we are going to see is more tools, more engaging tools, which will allow more staff to contribute to the social media conversation. So that's one thing. And the other thing, that we are going to see is a better listening. So not just interacting, having conversation with your followers, but starting to recruit people online through from querying the social media presence, so looking at what people are talking about on Twitter, and then proactively recruit supporters for events, volunteers, or support people for services. And the next part of it will be a better measurement of the success of social media, because it's still, to some extent, in many charities, feel like a buzzword. So being able to demonstrate how effective it is, to then identify also the right platform. Because when we talk about social media, you automatically think about Facebook, which is the biggest one, about Twitter. But if you look at the stats of lots of websites, Yahoo Answers has got more traffic than Google+. And so that means that there are sort of niche social media platforms that you can where you can investigate, or where you can develop a presence. If your charity, I was recently helping a charity that does a lot of work around research, and they do a lot of conferences. Then I said, well, Facebook is not the right platform. SlideShare, which is a place where you share your presentation, would be a very good network, a very good platform for that charity. So it's quite big, but I think we're going to see more and more charities identifying the niche social network where they can really grow a presence.